Are you wondering what your favorite wacky nerds are up to? Search for Campaigns of the Plains on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, and make sure to follow and like us to keep up with all our content and news. You might also find exclusive content for fans only. Remember to catch us on YouTube every Friday at noon for a new episode of Campaigns of the Plains. Welcome back to Campaigns of the Plains. I am still not your DM, but I am hosting out of character, part 3. That's a 2. Part 3. In this episode, we are discussing the last little chunk of our adventure up to date. And this adventure takes place in the K-Wood and in the Sylph lands. And we meet Garuda. Some things happen. So let's get into it. So we get to the K-Wood. And we find Reese's father because Ellie thinks that maybe he might be able to help us, basically, is the reasoning behind that. And when we find him, he eventually we tell him why we're there, and we find that he also, along the same lines as Reese, was working with the Grand Maester and knows about our situation. And he also told us that there are posters of us all over and that we are wanted felons or criminals, and he doesn't know how we got here without getting arrested, so that's cool. And we asked him if he can help us to find get to Garuda's temple. And he told us the safest way for us to do it is to go to the Sylph lands, which he gives us directions on how to get to. And we also find, while we're with him, we find out Ellie's summoning accidents are really not accidents. They're accidents. But they're not accidents because Ellie is a different kind of summoner. She can summon heroes of old or something along those lines.
Warriors of light from the past.
Yes. So essentially she's summoning past warriors of light. Real people that lived once, basically. But at this point, she doesn't know how to do it on command or how to get the same one every time or anything like that. But she knows at least that she's not crazy. So that's good. And
sure.
And she's gonna figure that out later. But we stay the night with him, and then I think we stay the night, right? And then the next day he shows us how to get to the K-Wood. Or not to the K-Wood, to the Sylph lands. And we go to the woods and we find this circle clearing with, I think, a fairy circle to get in there. And as soon as we get there, we don't know where to go. We don't have a map. And Ellie decides that might be a good idea to summon. Well, I think she just tries to summon Poppy.
And you get 2 twins.
And that doesn't work, and she gets twins summoned, which I think was Palom and Porum, and she asks them for help, and they summon, oddly enough, another set of twins. And these twins are, oh god, I forgot their names, guys.
Alexis and
Alexi. And they're little cats, aren't they?
Tabaxis.
Tabaxis. And they, thankfully, lead us to the village where, lo and behold, the Aeons are. They're not Aeons there. They're the actual real things. So, really Garuda. Really Titan. Them. Yeah. And it's a good thing that they came along to show us the way, because they told us if we tried to find the way on our own, we might die. Because it's dangerous to traverse the Sylphlands on our own. And, so we go to the primal village. And we meet the whole council of primals, which is pretty cool. A little jeering. And we explain to them while we're there that Garuda might be in danger. That Titan was in danger. And the most important thing that we find out there, the Grand Maester's not really dead.
Dun dun dun.
So what does everybody think about that? Because I know in action, in game, when we found that out, we all kind of looked around, too stunned to speak for like a hot second.
There was definitely a thought of, let's just go home then.
But we don't know. Nobody knows where he is, right? We just know he's not dead.
Yeah, well, I mean, jokingly, he's not dead. We'll just.
We know he's not dead. We don't know where he is, but we do know he must. That somewhere along the line there was an assassination, either attempt or plan, and he's in hiding, probably.
There was an attempt.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I think considering what we find out later on in this little arc here with Garuda and the K-Wood, I think Becky really feels a little betrayed. Like they're led on this wild goose chase, when all along the Grand Maester could have been helping them, because like our party has no ill intentions towards the Grand Maester, and we were given nothing. We were given no assistance from him, and we only met one of his agents once we actually got to the K-Wood. And so I think she just feels like he really like set them up and then just left them to just float adrift.
I could see that. Like, especially from Becky's perspective, like, oh, you asked us to help you, and now you're just abandoning us. I think it was more of just like a shock for Milos that, why was he dead and now he's not dead? Like, what miscommunication could have happened to cause that? And more of just like a curiosity than like blaming or anything. Like, why would he do that? I wasn't even thinking about he abandoned us or anything like that. It was more of just, that's surprising. I can't believe he would tell us to go off and then just not, like you said, not help us in any way.
And I don't know if...
for Becky, it's probably a little more personal for her because she does have abandonment issues. And so, for someone she thought was dead to not be, and he just kept this a secret, not only from his enemies, but also from his allies, like, big betrayal.
I think for Ellie, she doesn't feel betrayed by the Grand Maester. She feels betrayed by people that she considered family. I know she finds out from Reese's father that he was in on Reese's death being faked for her benefit, to keep her in the dark, and she shouldn't have known anything about this at all. And now she's caught up in all of this mess that shouldn't have been her doing it in the first place. But no one bothered to tell her she could have been helping this whole time and been aware of the plan or what was going on. But instead she's in the dark, but still expected to do these things. So I feel like it's one of those things, the Ellie maturing arc that she's on, where she's becoming a little more sure of herself and a little more vocal and aggressive. That she's, I don't know, I have to do this to keep myself alive because no one trusts me enough to be able to do this. Obviously, they didn't trust me enough to be able to do this or think I was capable of it. They didn't tell me about it. But now I'm their only option. One of those kind of things. But it's like a shocking thing. Mm-hmm. It's the biggest lie that we've all been told so far as a group, for our group. But it wasn't the Grand Maester's allies telling us that. We got this information from the people who were trying to capture us in the city, and we haven't been in another city since then. So, yeah. And so while we are in the Sylphlands, we got to go shopping, guys. Shopping trip in the Sylphlands. We got some cool stuff.
We got a lot of cool shit.
We got a lot of cool stuff. Hey, I want to know, what's everyone's favorite cool thing we got? Like, what was the coolest thing we bought? Like, I bought a bunch of random stuff, but Din got some really cool monsters.
Yeah, and then traded one off. She
sacrificed one to bring Asher back to life.
Yes.
But she got some really cool monsters, and Marquise got a lot of really cool potion spell things, and Becky got some cool
Reese's father,
Elar.
Elar, he got me a scroll of Identify before we got to the Sylph lands, which I was able to write that down as a ritual. So we have Identify permanently as long as I'm alive.
Woo! Celebration.
And what's that?
Celebration. I love being able to know if an item's cursed before I decide to wear it.
Right. And then I also got a scroll of Comet in the Sylph lands, which I'm still holding on to, just waiting for that right fight to unleash hell. But yeah.
I like that I'm slowly growing and like in clothing. Like I got the new belt that I got from you earlier in the runes, and now I got a cloak of displacement that's leopard printed. So I'm like headcanon, like redrawing like what his outfit looks like instead of just like the sarong and such.
Right.
And it looks pretty fancy. And I mean, cloak of displacement is a neat item for combat, but it's also fun flair, right? That it can look cool, like your coat of fashion or whatever, cloak of fashion. So it's fun to play dress up.
Oh yes. I like that you're dressing up in another cat's skin.
Right.
That's a little morbid.
Sure.
Macabre.
I don't remember what I got for Ellie. I'm going to tell you guys. It's been too long. But I know...
You got a Tome of Understanding. You got a ointment. And you got a Vicious Warhammer.
Okay. Yes. I bought the Warhammer for Asher, and then he didn't need it. And then we were going to make Whip wield it.
Oh, yes.
And Whip's strong enough to wield it. Josh told us he's strong enough to wield it. Guys, Whip with a Warhammer. Wait for it. The potion that I got was really cool. It's like a heart. No, not a heart. Some kind of gem suspended. And you can drink it. It heals you. And then the tome is going to give me a +2 to something. I don't remember what it was right now. But
I was about to ask, is it wisdom or intelligence?
I think it's wisdom.
Yeah.
Which is my thing. So Ellie just needs to sit down and read it. Unfortunately, Ellie is not very good at paying attention to things. And she's very into the Marquise books right now, so it's kind of on like she's got to finish the collection.
She has a backlog.
She's got a backlog. She'll get to it. What else? Asher got a really cool sword, I think. Like we got a lot of really cool stuff. That was a really cool place. Yeah. Also, while we were in the Sylph lands, Becky entered into yet another contract.
Whoops.
And I called this Becky's Contract the Remix in my notes.
Okay.
2 questions for Becky on this related to this contract. Is she worried this new contract will upset the other thing she has a contract with now? Or they're unrelated?
Well, that's the question, right? I guess dropping the meta shield, I have some guesses as to what this young primal that I made the contract with is. And so I don't know if their agenda and my previous patron's agenda are going to clash at all. And I guess we'll see in the end where that all leads us. My
other question related to this new contract that Becky's made is, hey, you got wings, girl. They came back. So how does Becky feel about that? Because she got to be excited.
Yeah, so I feel like Becky's true explanation of this should be probably saved for role playing. But what I can say is like Becky is like I don't think this primal could have asked for anything that Becky wouldn't have accepted to get her wings back, because they mean and have meant so much to her in her past.
Right, because we found out at some point Becky was not a Al-Ra, so...
Right. Piecing it all together, and I believe Becky even came out and flat out said she was born Gria and was raised amongst the Gria. And like that is why she has horns and wings. And she doesn't look like the other Gria. Her horns sweep back towards the back of her head instead of going straight up like other Gria. And she also has very strange colorations, being that she has green skin with black scales on it. She is definitely an anomaly amongst her own people. Yeah, I guess the best way to say it is wings equal freedom. And that is something that is priceless to Becky.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to see some character development with Becky with her wings now. To see if maybe this piece of her that's been missing, if that changes her outlook on life, So I'm interested for some role playing with that. That'll be fun.
Yes.
Yeah, so the Sylph realm, we leave it. Our little Alexi and Alexis, I think that's what their names were. They show us the way to Garuda's temple. And we get there. And we kind of get separated a little bit from them and Asher's mom, I think, for a moment. Because we get the teleportation unit is a little weird. We get in the temple. I don't think that they made it in the temple. And we fight a priest that's been corrupted. And after we fight the priests and the corruption, then Alexi and Alexis and Asher's mom make it in. Then we fight something else, right? Because Asher... I'm getting things mixed up. Is Asher...
Yeah, things happened really quick.
Things happened really quick. So somewhere along this line, after we get reunited with everybody, I believe, or maybe...
So
no, it's not.
We entered the temple, and in the main lobby, we got ambushed by these infected priests and whatever they had summoned to them, these snake creatures and
during this
other entities.
Fight, I believe Asher dies.
Asher does die in that fight.
Yep.
And after that is when Alexis, and Asher's mom join back up with us. And we are... this is the first party death. We have not up to this point had a party death, and this is death.
We got close.
We got close, but this is the first death. So what was everybody's characters' reactions, feelings towards this death? Because death, so far as any of us, our characters, I think, were aware up until that point, permanent thing. And he comes back, we're able to bring him back. So, I guess wrapping that all together, Asher died, and we're able to bring him back. What did everybody's characters take me through your mental breakdown process? That, I don't know, Ellie definitely had a mental breakdown.
I'll go. So during that time, Becky had a fairly powerful magic item. It was a luck stone, and it's pretty good, or a luck coin, I believe it was. Either way, it was a very good item, and I think in the moment, she was willing to give up something important to save her teammate, and I'd like to think that this is kind of one of Becky's major turning points about being a little more selfless than she had been up until that point. It really took someone dying to kind of hit that home.
I mean, it's not too long after that, maybe in game time, 10 minutes that Becky saves Din.
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't think Becky ever really grew close to a lot of people growing up, and so this team has kind of become her surrogate family, and I think Becky she ogles Asher a little bit. I think she wishes he would reciprocate, and I think she does care a little bit about him.
He's an attractive boy. Yep.
And it's her first big attractive boy that she has shown interest in since she's left home, and so...
Well, she's doing better than Ellie, because Ellie's attracted to a guy in a full leather suit and a mask.
Wait, Joker?
I don't... Little column A and little column B.
Okay.
She likes some men in a mask.
So, yeah.
What about Milos?
I would say he's more disappointed in himself than anything that he was unable to help. Because like I remember being very close to Asher. If I'm remembering the fight correctly, I was like very nearby, and I really had the choice between like healing a couple people that were about to go down and healing him. And I think I chose not to heal him because I think he rolled a 1, I think, on one of his death saves, and so that's why he died. Because I was really torn, and I think Milos is just feeling guilty that he didn't choose Asher instead of, because I think he healed both you and Ellie instead, because you both were looking pretty rough. So again, there was no right answer, right? Like hypothetically, he saved Asher, then both of you went down, and then he would feel bad that both of you went down, right? So it's a no-win situation. But I think he just felt guilty he wasn't able to protect Asher from dying.
More group mom mentality.
Yeah, again, like surrogate mom, not intentional at all. But
Milos has adopted all of us. We are his children.
Yeah, I guess. I didn't even intend for that, but yes.
How old is Milos?
Let me look it up. I think I put like 30s.
Okay.
But I could be wrong.
It's like most of us are fairly young. Ellie is older, but she's not for her like race, so.
Oh, 25.
Okay. Well, he's young. He's still young.
Yeah.
What did... there's got to be a lot of things going through Marquise's mind.
Well, yeah, so...
Welcome to the club.
Right? So, Marquise, for obvious reasons, does not have the same concerns or fears of death that people typically do. And also, given the things that he has experienced in his time while dead, which, however brief they may have been, and what he was told before being sent back, he was not concerned at all. Like, he didn't necessarily know whether or not the ritual to try and revive him would work, but he assumed, and still assumes, because, well, we've not seen an alternative case happen, that, well, probably is just going to end up being sent back in some capacity, or I don't know, maybe he'll just be like, yeah, no, you get back in there, or he'll be like me, wake up in someone else's body, which I think would be a very interesting little like
concept
arc if a character dies and then somewhere along later on the campaign they manage to catch back up with us.
That'd be interesting.
But yeah, for him, it's like, well, I have personal experience in this matter, and it's weird, and he's someone else because of it, but also it still just has led to a non-fear of death.
That makes sense. Ellie's job is to send souls, right? That's her job. As someone that knows about magic and that can use magic, I'm sure she's heard that there are certain spells to, if the soul's still in the body, maybe jumpstart that thing back up again. But it's not common, right? So what we did was a miracle, right? In her mind, she's like, oh my God, we brought somebody back to life. What are the repercussions of this? Is he going to end up being unsent? And I think she even, or is he more susceptible to die? Is he going to die easier next time? Is his soul fractured? Because this is not something she's experienced before. People that die are dead. They stay dead, or they become unsent, and they become fiends. So I think all of that's going through her mind. But also, Ellie hasn't experienced a whole lot of death in her life besides her father dying. He was old. And Reese, who's not really dead, and it's hard because you guys are her friends, and she doesn't have a lot of them, so she was devastated. And if he would have stayed dead, it probably would have been a major setback in her progress, I think. But he came back, guys. Hey, he came back. And then it was time to go fight Garuda.
Way to just like.
Do you like supporting artists? Do you like nerdy things like Dungeons and Dragons? Then Co-op Creations SD is the store for you. You can find adorable dragons, menacing mind flayers, and jealous jelly cubes to accompany you on your adventures. Need a way to safely transport your math rocks? Then their homemade dice bags will keep your click-clacks warm. Stop on by their Etsy page soon, as stock is limited.
It was a tragic moment for all of us, guys. It was really tragic. Like,
No dying now.
Josh ended the episode on Asher being dead, and we had to wait.
Yeah,
I think we had a break after that.
Yes.
So I think we had to wait
Yeah.
2 weeks to find out what was going to happen to Asher.
Yeah, we did.
And I was stressed. I was stressed the whole time, just anxious. It was a very stressful moment. And then we fought Garuda. And in the fight with Garuda, I think there's a few things that I noticed. Garuda was corrupted. The sisters weren't right away because they tried to stop her from attacking us when we were trying to complete the trial. And then when we got to the end to complete the trial, she attacked us. And we were able to win, thankfully. But the crystal was already done. We needed to put somebody else in the crystal. And then there was a curse scuffle because the kids wanted to jump in the crystal, and then Asher's mom was like, "No, I'm going in the crystal." And then as Asher's mom was going in the crystal, Ellie summoned a person and put the person in the crystal.
So
like, oh,
there was a lot
yeah.
of things happening. Like right there, just like all these different people. They're like, okay, Swan died.
Yeah, everybody wanted to sacrifice their life for the crystal.
It's a thing like, yeah, it's definitely a big deal, right? And there's a lot of emotions, but you also definitely could have just played yakety sax to that.
Yeah, it was chaos. It was chaos. And I wish Eric was here because I want to know what he thinks on, here's his mom. He just got her back, and she is willing to sacrifice herself and die, basically, obviously, to noble cause, to keep the crystal from corrupting and not being in, the world ending, basically. But, that's awful. It's devastating for you to watch your mom sacrifice themselves like that. But, that didn't end up happening, because I guess Ellie Ellie was able to summon Rydia, who was whatever of old. Warrior Blade of old. My brain just stopped working. Warrior Blade of old, and she went in the crystal, which is good for us to know, because if we have to do this again, we know what we can do without any of us having to sacrifice ourselves.
So
that makes it easier.
Yeah.
On that topic, so in game, you were out of summons for the day, and Josh kind of pops this proposal to you that's saying, "Oh, well, why don't you give it another try?"
Mm-hmm.
And you summon this creature or this person to take Garuda's place. Do you feel any pressure on you? Like now your character is becoming some sort of supposed savior for the world. There's a lot of pressure on Ellie now to save these Aeons now.
I think that this is all going to be a part of Ellie's growth, right? Because Ellie started off as this innocent being who doesn't know what she's doing. She doesn't have a lot of confidence in herself. She doesn't think that she belongs in the situation that she's in, or that she's a hero, or that she's meant to be a hero. And I think that as her confidence grows, she's gonna be a lot better at what she's doing. But I also think that if anyone tells her that she's meant to be a hero and to save the world, she's gonna freak out. Because
note to self, say that exact same phrase. Right.
Because she is going through this mentality with, I have to do this to help my friends save the world. I'm not the one doing this. I'm on this journey with these people who are so much more amazing than I am, and I'm playing this small part.
Oh.
That's kind of how she feels in her mind. because she doesn't think that she's a hero and that she that she would go on this kind of journey. She reads about heroes, and they're all these grand people with these amazing powers, and she is a girl who lives in the wood in a tree by herself. Like, she doesn't feel like a hero. So I definitely think that, if she has that realization or somebody brings it up to her, she might panic. Because Ellie is not very confident in herself. Not yet. She's getting better.
I definitely have noticed a quick evolution, and I think it's out of necessity, where, she seems to be at least trying to become more confident in her capabilities.
I think she's faking it a lot of the time, but if you fake it enough, then maybe you'll believe in yourself kind of things. Like, it's one of those things where I have to do this because if I don't do this, everyone's going to die. And I don't think that I could forgive myself if everyone dies because I wasn't confident enough to accomplish this. So she's just forcing it to happen. And I think if we had a moment to rest and unwind, she would probably need some decompression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We might get that.
We might get that. We are getting that. I think Josh told us we had a week.
Yep.
So, so that happened. We did that. We successfully were able to repair the crystal. And as we were getting ready to go, Ace shows up and he fires a black bolt right into the heart of Asher's mom. And, Josh loves his cliffhangers, and I'm pretty sure that's where he ended the episode.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. I just, whoa. But, we find out that that's Joker. What does everybody think about that? Like, what did your character think? Like, oh my god, Joker's here? What's going on? Where's Asher's mom?
Yeah, because we spent a little bit of time trying to figure out, like, wait a minute.
When did this happen?
When did this swap?
Has it been Joker all along?
Joker.
That one was...
But that was very clever on his part, because they couldn't harm each other unless, you did it first kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the way it played out, Joker definitely got one on Ace. And I think that's going to be an interesting, dynamic, how that plays out going forward. Because, again, Becky's not sure how to feel about Joker. But, obviously it went a long way for Joker to kind of put himself in between us and Ace to give us an out to get out of the temple.
He saved our lives, I think, at that moment. We also got to see the beginnings of what their summons looked like. And they were scary looking, if I remember correctly.
Yes. We did get to see their summons and just how powerful they are. And I think it'll be interesting down the road to see if Ellie gets powerful summons that can go toe to toe with Ace's, or Becky now has this pact with this young, possibly an Esper or Aeon, that will Becky have the ability to summon its power? There's a lot of what ifs on the horizon right now, and it'll be interesting to see how it develops.
Has your guys' opinions on Joker changed since when we first met him? And he stole our stuff, and he asked us to do some crazy stuff for him, and now he's risking his life to help us, and he's trying to help us go against his brothers to end the world. Basically, he's doing good, but he's doing it in a not always honest way, but he's trying to keep a calamity from happening. We're learning more and more about Joker as we interact with him. And I know at the beginning, all the way through it, Ellie has not trusted him, and Sheila trusts everybody, but there's something about him that Ellie something's not right with him. But I think the more and more we interact with him, the more and more Ellie's maybe he's okay. He's not good, but you don't have to be good to be trusted, right? Because she kind of sees things in black and white with good and evil, especially since a lot of her knowledge from those kinds of heroes come from books. And there's the good guy and the bad guy, but it doesn't talk about the gray in between place.
Right. And I think he definitely is starting to fall more into the gray.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he does things that have a means to an end, and like maybe he'll lean towards good or maybe he'll lean towards evil occasionally. But I feel like he definitely falls into that neutral territory of it, like, at least because he's helping us, right?
Right.
But like the stealing from us to get us to like, that was definitely like at least partially evil. But it got us together and it got him talking to us and blah blah blah, so he could actually facilitate that.
Mm-hmm.
So there was some good that came out of it.
Yes.
But
Joker can help us, but he definitely has his own agenda.
Yeah,
at the end of
and
the
we
day.
still don't know what that agenda is for the most part.
no.
So I guess after all of that, we leave, we run away, and we leave Joker to fight with his brother. We get out of the church and we run into Reese's dad again, and they have been able to get rid of the agents of the church that were in the town. So we have a little bit more freedom to wander around the town and recover and recuperate. And Joker comes out sometime after that, not dead, so that's good. And so that's where the party is now. We're recovering, we're recuperating. We go to an awesome party. We all get real cool clothes, dresses. The girls do anyway.
Don't forget Spa Day.
We have a spa day. Yes.
Yep.
We did have a spa day. Just our first kind of breath of fresh air, relaxing after the chaos that has been our journey together thus far. And my last question that I have on my list is, we have now fought with and encountered 2 Aeons, and we've encountered the whole pantheon of primals. What's everyone's thoughts on what's going on now compared to the beginning? You know, with the church, the Aeons, the primals. It's all a new experience to everybody. But we know more now, a lot more now than we did before. So, what do you think? What do you think's going on? What do you think's going to happen going forward? What do you think might be next? Because this is something none of us know, but we can speculate about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I think for Marquise, in that investigative mindset, there's a lot of seeing puzzle pieces start to manifest themselves. And as I mentioned before, when we were, I think it was the last one with, going through this, what appears to be remnant city of a past calamity, now we've encountered our second Aeon. And this it wasn't just like this is like a little bit of the same. It was an entirely new experience, entirely separate, and it felt like it dialed up quickly. So that's just 2, and we've got several more to go. So how quickly does this ramp up, and how much harder is it going to get? And then it starts to bring in that realization of seeing that city and getting and realizing, we're probably going to end up here. It makes him start to wonder, well, this has happened before, which means that they failed. So does that mean like he's starting to get that kind of like that thought of like, well, there's definitely a chance we fail too. And is that what we're in for? So that's my concern is not Ellie's concern. I don't think that she would come to this conclusion. Is whatever is doing this, we know it's doing it, right? It's the masked people, right? But
we have so far been able to successfully stop their attempts at 2 different Aeons, but they know it's us. They know we're the ones doing it. So what does that mean for the next place we go? What does that mean for our safety and our journeys? They obviously can find us really easily. What precautions should we take to keep ourselves hidden from their view? Because right now they can find us. I mean, at least the Ace can. But maybe what Joker did with Ace, we don't know. We haven't really asked him.
True.
Might help us a little bit too. He might have injured him enough where he leaves us alone for a while. We really don't know. But we're on their radar now. if we weren't before, for sure.
I don't think Milos really fully understands everything that's going on. Like, obviously he knows we're going on this quest to get all of the corruption out of the Aeons, but I don't think he fully grasps all of the intricate pieces, because I feel like he's more interested in like exploring and finding, like he's fascinated by like the K-wood and like what that means and all the plants and like being in the Sylph land. Like I think he's almost like ignorance is bliss type of thing. Like he's more interested in like seeing what there is around him and less about like the world coming to an end. Like it seems like everyone else in the group is like gloom and doom and such, and he's just like, I mean, I got a pocket watch, I'm cool. Like he doesn't seem, I don't think he would really worry too much about it. Like Matt is much more worried about it than I think Milos.
I think it's a hard concept to grasp that we are trying to keep the world from ending. Right? Because this feels so small. No one knows that this is happening except for us. No one's guarding the temples.
Right.
But Ellie and Asher saw a vision of what it looked like when the world ended last time.
Right.
And I think even Becky got to see a part of that vision with one of the things that you found in the Barren place, or wherever it's called.
Barren?
Barren place.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess as far as Becky's opinion on all this, like going into Garuda, Becky was a lot more optimistic and a lot more confident because Titan went down easy, right? We got hit by Ace several times before we got up to the K-Wood, and we took on each and every one of his monsters and won. Like, I think Becky was really pumped up and like she could take on the world, and then Asher fell, and that was only the first fight. They still had to solve Garuda's puzzle and then fight Garuda herself, and and then there was all this talk of like self-sacrifice and like who was going to take Garuda's place. And I think even though it was never said out loud, me, the player, considered like, would Becky sacrifice herself? Like, it would be easier for Becky to just jump in and take this instead of facing all of her problems, especially all the debt she's taken on from all these patrons and everything that they have before them, like all these other, like Ace and Joker and their fight, like it's only going to get worse from here, and the Aeons are only going to get tougher. So like, I think Becky was kind of in a dark space, like towards the end of the Garuda fight.
See, and there's more of Ellie's like growth that she's making, but when Asher's mom was willing to jump in and Alexi and Alexis were willing to jump in, Ellie was like, well, I can jump in. Or Reese jumped in. He was a summoner. It worked fine. But then she thought, what happens if they don't have me? They won't have a summoner. What happens then? Like, they need me. I can't sacrifice myself. But I also think that made her feel guilty that Reese was able to do that, and she can't because there's no one else to jump in and do it after her. So I don't know. It's very interesting the way that Josh has set up these challenging, really difficult decisions that our characters have to face that are even outside of our backstories that we have made for them. Things that we didn't think maybe that they would have to think about, like self-sacrifice, like sacrificing your life for the better good or other people, or death of people around you, which is something you expect in D&D. It is crazy. Or how they would react to like a world-ending event. It's just, it's good. It's good storytelling, and I'm excited to see what happens next.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But also I'm terrified because I don't want any more character deaths, because in any D&D game, every time somebody dies, it's just heartbreaking to me. It's so hard because you get so attached to your characters. Even if you're excited to play a new character, that you don't want your character to die. You want them to sunset off and go and have a happy life if you stop playing them, right? So it's hard. It's like they're real, which is good. Yeah. It's good gameplay then. But yeah. Any more questions? That's all I got. We're caught up. We got cool new dresses. I really like my dress. Ellie loves her dress.
Yep. And Din has a pet bear now.
Din does have a pet bear. That is one of the last things we did is we wrestled.
The bear arc has been completed.
We got the bear. We didn't get a full-size bear. We got a cub, but we did it.
Still counts.
Still counts.
And we got some cool stuff from the twins, too. So.
We did. Yeah, we got some staffs from the twins and some other things, too, I think.
Yep. So next time you see us, we're going to be debating what the hell we're going to do.
Well, we have a week. We have a week of downtime. Yeah, I think during that week of downtime, Ellie already had set up to train with another summoner on how to, be a summoner. She's doing it backwards.
Actually do your job.
She's doing it backwards. She got the ability to be a summoner first instead of doing the training to become a summoner, but she's getting around
They hired me, but I wasn't ready.
I lied on my resume and they hired me for some reason, but now I gotta go to night school.
I realized what the actual job was.
Yeah, that's all.
Well.
That's it. You're caught up. We're caught up too. It's good. Thanks for watching. Be sure to tune in next week for our next episode of whatever it is that comes after this. I don't know. Artistic director, can you tell me?
I have no idea.
We don't know. But watch it. It'll be great.
I'm just the director-producer. I don't know this shit.
I'm pretty sure in the very next episode, Christian has his beard braided. Watch it happen. Right, Christian?
And dyed red.
And dyed red. Very next episode after this one, Christian has his beard braided and dyed red.
No, that's not true. But I will tell you this: I will dye the beard red if by the end of this year, 2022, you make us YouTube partners.
I don't know how that works.
Do it.
What does that mean?
How many is that?
How many subscribers is that?
That is 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours watched.
Okay.
Oh.
Guys,
it's
a really
easy.
easy.
I appreciate
it's
it.
really easy to get 4,000 hours watched because each of our episodes are 2 hours long. Just listen to it while you're cleaning. That's what I do.
The 4,000 hours may happen beforehand because it's within a 12-month period. But yes, if you get us partnered on YouTube by the end of this year, this will be red. I'll even dye this red too.
Huh, I like it.
Oh, okay.
I'll do it.
Okay.
And they'll be interesting, folks, because by December, his beard will be like down here, like Gandalf, and so he'll just be he'll look like an Irish Gandalf is what he'll look like.
So I have to grow this out. Okay. I guess that's been decided.
I like it. I've never dyed my hair before, but I mean, I guess if we do get that awesome, maybe we'll think about it.
So there's the challenge.
There's the challenge. Post it on the socials. Dye that beard red.
Yep.
Hashtag.
Okay. That is our next goal.
Hey, you know what? If you do it before December, we'll live stream the hair dye.
Oh shit.
Okay? I'll do it. I don't know how to dye hair, Christian, but I'll do it.
I did it.
That shit.
I did it once. I can help.
Travis will be doing it. You don't want me to do it. I'm not. Did I not tell you I've never had my hair
done?
done?
I've mentioned this a few times. Throughout the year, but yes.
Yes.
There you go. The challenge has been learned.
I mentioned a few episodes ago, I think that it's been out for a while now. We want 100 followers. I think you guys could do that. 100 followers on our YouTube channel, and we'll do a giveaway for one of the crochet things that I make. Not any of these. These are permanently affixed here. They belong here now, but maybe like a dragon.
There's a dragon behind
Not
you.
this one. This one is mine. He's the first one I made, and I love him.
Well, but I mean, you can make another one.
I could make another one, like
facsimile,
a clone. Actually, there's another one of him out there already that I made for a friend's daughter. So a third one, a triplet to this one. Perfect.
Yeah.
She'll continue making the clutch.
Yes. So you heard us. Partner, red hair. Mine's easier. 100 subscribers. Dragon giveaway. That's pretty cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Hey, you know what? I'll ask Josh, but if we get to 500 subscribers, maybe he'll throw that dragon at us as a mini. Gargantuan.
What a fight. All right.
What a fight. Well. Okay. That's it. That's all, folks. That's all I got. That's all we got. You're caught up. We're caught up. And have a good night. I'm still not your DM, but maybe next week he'll be back. Follow us on all the socials.
Okay, bye.
Bye!
Thank you for tuning in to the Campaigns of the Plains channel. Catch new material every Friday on YouTube, and make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.